Welcome here, everyone. This is our first debate of the week for the Peterborough and Kawarthas Chamber of Commerce. And we're welcoming here all of our candidates here in Douro-Dummer. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, all the candidates, everybody watching online. Myself, I'm Joel Weeb. I'm the Government Relations Coordinator here at the Peterborough and Kawarthas Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be your moderator tonight. All candidates have been invited. I want to thank as well our partners over at Peterborough and the Kawarthas Home Builders Association for their help with us here. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that though we are meeting virtually, the land we're speaking from and discussing tonight is the Treaty 20 Michisagi territory and the traditional territory of the Michisagi Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nation, which includes Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Rama, and Scugog Island First Nations. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Tonight's debate will wrap up at 7 p.m. so we can get ready for our next debate of the night, which is Ashfidel Norwood. So we have 8 township debates, all planned over the next 4 days. So they're back to back. That one starts at 7:30. It's not the same link, so if you do want to join us for that, you're going to have to go to pkchamber.ca. There's a municipal election page there, and you can find the links for all the debates, and you can find information about the election, as well as after these are over, we're going to be publishing all of it. You'll be able to find it on our website, Facebook, YouTube, and on Your TV. So thanks so much to Your TV for partnering with us. Our speaking order tonight was randomly drawn. So up first, we have Heather Watson, Tom Watt, Harold Nelson, Adam Vervoort, Mark Trudeau, Mark Porter, Jim Coyle, Marie Howard, Sheila Landsman, and Ray Johnson. And thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So how this will work, we'll alternate speaking order. We'll see if everybody gets a chance to answer each question first. But so Heather will start the first one, which is actually our introductions. And so then the next one would be Tom, the first question, second question, then Harold would start, and so on. And I'll call out the orders as we go through it. It makes it a bit tricky sometimes to keep track because, you know, when we're all in person, everybody's sitting around tables, we can sort of go that line down the table, but here the windows change around as different people speak and that kind of thing. So I will try and remind everybody whose turn it is to speak. Candidates will have 1.5 minutes for opening statements, and then we'll get into our question and answer period. You'll have 1 minute each to answer. In the interest of staying on time and getting through as much as we can in our 1.5 hours, we'll try and keep rebuttals to a minimum, but there is an opportunity for a 30-second rebuttal, and that's at the discretion of the moderator. As the end of the night approaches, we'll try and gauge as we're getting close to wrapping up, and we'll move into our closing remarks, which is another 1.5 minutes that everybody has to wrap up what it is you'd like to say tonight. And then we'll go from there. And then whoever, again, wants to join us for our Ashfidel Norwood debate. Timekeeping, there is a blank window that says timer. And Olivia tonight will be making sure that the time appears so you'll know roughly what that is. And if you're running over time, I just ask that you wrap up whatever it is you're saying and not launch into a new thought. So if you're a couple seconds over, we'll work around that. I'm not going to mute you right away, but just try and be respectful. We all have the same amount of time to speak, and we want to get through as much as we can tonight. And so the questions tonight are coming from our local business community as well as the community at large. And I have a long list of questions, and we probably won't get through all of that, but if things are moving along well, we'll try and take a few questions from the audience. So anybody who's watching us live tonight, you can join us. Submit them through the Q&A function, and we will go through those, and we'll try and get to a couple of those if we're able to tonight. So with that said, let's get started. So Heather, if you'd like to start with your opening remarks.
Thank you, Joel. I am Heather Watson, and I am running to be your next mayor in Douro-Dummer Township. I do want to thank the Chamber for providing us this conduit to reach interested and engaged residents, and for all those who are watching, whether it's now live or the recorded version later, as well also to my fellow candidates who have put their names forward for the good of the community. As a longtime resident of the community, I've had the opportunity to serve on council for one full term. It was a challenging term with more than half of it in a declared state of emergency, but despite this, I've been able to accomplish a lot. And I do hope to build on that success should I be fortunate enough to earn your vote. Looking ahead, if elected, I plan to be accessible to residents. My reputation over the past 4 years is one that I show up and I'm present in the community at events. I'm responsive by phone. I answer my phone. People don't do that anymore, apparently. And I respond to emails and texts, and I'm available on social media and meeting face-to-face with people at the ends of their driveways to hear their concerns. I also want to tackle the housing crisis. Through creative problem solving, building partnerships, and demonstrating leadership. I want to also address climate change to continue supporting new initiatives that encourage our residents to think global while acting local. And further, I will work to rebuild and reconnect the community, finding ways to bring people together again so we can be neighborly and support each other. And finally, I will move forward with initiatives to improve our facilities, build partnerships, and plans so we can attract new investment and so our facilities meet the changing needs of the community.
All right. Thank you so much, Heather. Appreciate those opening comments. Tom.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Joel, thank you very much to you and the chamber for putting this together. Welcome to all the candidates that are in the tonight's session. Really looking forward to working with the somewhat new council, maybe all new council. We don't know at this point. I guess we'll know after the 24th. Anyhow, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone out in the public and that had the, I guess they've had the confidence in me that I was doing a good enough job. I've had 4 terms in now. This will be my 5th coming up. I am acclaimed, so I very, very much appreciate the fact that people have the support or the confidence to support me in another term in council. And I'll just leave it at that for now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Harold.
Good afternoon, Joel, and thank you very much for inviting all the candidates to join in this. And just a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong resident of the municipality. I started out my career initially with the county and spent 19 years with the county and in different capacities at the county. So I feel I have a very good handle on what goes on at the county, and I have a lot of people that I had worked with at the county in as a staff person, but I know most of the players that are still at the county level. And then I moved on to the township and was manager of public works with the township for 16 years and had some awesome working relationships with the former councils and staff members as well. I love this township. It is my home township. I'm looking forward to moving forward with different avenues of business and trying to get businesses to attract to this municipality. I do know that there is some drawbacks as far as municipal water and sewer. One of the issues that this municipality does have, almost too costly to even think about ever coming into the township. Sorry, Joel, you had your hand up there.
Oh, I'm just, you're running at the end of your time here.
sorry, Joel. Anyways, I've raised my family here, and I'm looking forward to representing the people of the township.
Thanks so much, Harold. All right, Adam.
Super. Thanks very much, Joel. And thank you to the Chamber for putting on this event this evening. And thank you, fellow candidates, for being here as well. Just really quickly about myself, I grew up in a rural community in Western Ontario, went off to university and did a couple degrees there and then got my accounting designation. And I've had a chance to live throughout the province, whether it be a couple of small rural communities London, Ontario for a while, and then downtown Toronto for about 5 years, where I worked as the National Agriculture Director for the Bank of Montreal. I moved here roughly 4 years ago, and to a few of the other candidates' points, this is an area where I found it a great place to start up a business. And my vision for the future is to work with council and the county and engaged residents to work to make Douro-Dummer the place where people do want to invest, do want to raise a family or relax, and the place where people choose to be. And of course, when I look at the township, the main areas that I look at in terms of best interests for our constituents are agriculture, which is a major industry here, and the gravel industry, and of course tourism, and how can we as a council work with the community to ensure those interests are maintained. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, Adam. All right, Mark Trudeau.
Sorry about that. Just had to unmute. I apologize for the late log in there and just having some technical difficulties here at the house. So hello and good evening. I am Mark Trudeau and I'm looking to become your next deputy mayor. I'd like to start by taking a moment and wish all our fellow Canadians, friends and family on the East Coast all the best. My family's thoughts are with them and this is a difficult time. Secondly, I'd like to thank the Kawartha Chamber of Commerce for hosting this great event. As a candidate and a voter, I appreciate this opportunity. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I live in the east side of the township on the 5th Line Road South. My wife and I moved here about 20 years ago, and over the years, we've built a small equine facility. We've started our family as well 17 years ago with the arrival of my son, Joshua, then coming along my daughter, Isabella, 3 years later. They both attended school in Douro and now are attending St. Peter's Secondary School in Peterborough. I've worked in the financial services industry now for 21 years as a financial advisor, banking consultant, and currently specializing as a mortgage specialist, advising clients on their financial structures and home equity financing. As your deputy mayor, I have some key commitments that I'd like to share with you. We have a great market in Douro-Dummer for our housing and business development. We're a large township with lots of potential for responsible growth. I will work for you to ensure that we support our current businesses and township, and I will also promote Douro-Dummer as the destination for those businesses and families. I want to see growth and development evolve. I will work hard. Yes? Getting close?
I'm on mute. You're running out of time. If you don't mind just quickly wrapping it up so we can get on to the next person.
I'll wrap it up. I want to see growth and development build and grow in our foundation in relationship with our county, federal, and provincial governments. And I'll work hard to successfully ensure that all applications are made for funding on time and within the community. I will support and maintain a balanced budget to ensure our taxpayers are getting necessary services for what they're paying for. And lastly, I'll be available as a councillor and their deputy mayor via telephone, text, and email.
All right, thanks so much. Mark Porter.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to Peterborough Kawartha's Chamber of Commerce for arranging tonight's debate. I appreciate it. My name is Mark Porter, and I'm running as your candidate for Douro Ward Councillor in the upcoming election. A little bit about myself. I'm a 30-plus year resident of Peterborough, or the general area, and for the last 20 years, I'm proud to call Douro my home. My wife, Jennifer, who is a 20-year frontline healthcare worker, and I met at school in Waterloo. And after graduating from Wilfrid Laurier University with business degree, we lived in Toronto for a very short time. It was still very long. And returned to Peterborough as soon as we could in order to start our family. We were very, very fortunate to find our very first home and only home in the Donwood area of Douro. This is where each of our 3 children, Sarah, Michael, and Matthew, were born and raised. And we have plans to see that through for the long term. Beyond being a longtime resident, I'm also a second-generation family business owner who understands the challenges faced by small businesses in our community, particularly over the last 2.5 years running a small family business also means that I understand the need for collaboration and fair compromise. And that's something I think that any council in township, city, or otherwise can always use more of in the future. The foundational pillars of my platform are made of 3 promises to friends and neighbors. 1, I promise to listen first because your priorities are my priorities. 2nd, I promise to be accessible and accountable for how I represent your interests. And finally, I promise to do my part to invest in the future of Douro-Dummer, recreational facilities, roads, fire halls, to name a few, while balancing the need to keep the taxes as low as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Jim.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Jim Coyle, and I'm thrilled to be running for the mayor of Douro-Dummer in this 2022 municipal election. And I'd just like to welcome all you folks to this debate and thank the chamber very much for hosting it. They've done it many, many years in the past, and it's a great thing to do for the community. I've been a resident here in the township for over 20 years. I've been in Peterborough since 76 or 7, and spent a good chunk of my working life here in Peterborough. Worked as a partner with the chartered accounting firm BDO, and then joined our family business in 1995, and we had 6 corrugated containerboard packaging plants all over Ontario, one of which we opened in Peterborough. And as a resident of this township, like I said, for over 20 years, I'm passionate about making a difference that will improve the lives of current residents and attract newcomers to the area. And part of that is my Rotary life. I've been a Rotarian for 39 years, and that's what Rotary is all about, trying to make a difference in someone else's life. And I believe with my extensive background as a chartered accountant and business owner in the community, as well as my leadership in many not-for-profit groups, you can be sure I'll take a collaborative approach in everything I do while making sound, financially responsible decisions for the future. I'm committed to representing our community by engaging our citizens, advocating for our community needs while earning your respect. So we'll look forward to meeting you all at some point in time, and have a good evening. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, Jim. Marie.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone who has joined us here this evening. My name is Marie Howard. I'm a candidate for the Douro ward of Douro-Dummer Township. I've been a resident of this township for over 30 years, having moved here to raise my family in a strong community atmosphere, and Douro-Dummer did not disappoint. I then purchased a farm here on the 7th line of Douro and started a small farming operation. I've decided to run for council because I believe that I have something to offer in terms of my experience. I've worked in the field of information technology and project management for over 30 years. I'm a Trent alumnus, and I've worked for the Ministry of Finance, the separate school board, the City of Peterborough, and Peterborough Utilities for the last 19 years of my career. I believe in transparency of government, and I believe in a balance of the township's financial needs with taxpayer stability. I strongly believe that the access to government must start at the municipal level, and we need to re-engage our constituents by demonstrating that we actually listen locally. If elected, I will advocate for a transparent process in the area of zoning, planning, and building. And I would like to ensure that we use an online facility to clearly demonstrate the stage that applications and permits are at, and if they are held up, the reason why. I will advocate for transparency in all areas. During the past 2 years, existing businesses have struggled, and many new home, farm-based, and agritourism businesses have sprung up. If elected, I would like to work to ensure that we're supporting all businesses, and that we ensure that we're aiding and not abetting these businesses as they try to bring new jobs and opportunities to our community. Community is my #1 priority. That is what brought me to this township, and I want to ensure that it survives for future generations to come. To this end, I want to
Sorry, Marie.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you. We've gone over time a little bit here, but
I'm just wrapping up here. I'd
Okay.
just like to be an informed voice of the people, and I'd like to welcome conversation and regular exchanges, and I'd like to thank the Peterborough and Kawartha Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity this evening.
thanks so much. All right, Sheila.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, as everyone has said, to the Peterborough Kawarthas Chamber for organizing this, and my congratulations to everybody who put their name forward. Over my years on council, I've been in and on many committees, pretty much every committee that has been going around, and I've been liaison by council to fire, public works, staff, and the finance. And of course, for the younger generation who's not listening, I'm very involved in the Santa Claus parade too. I'm running again simply because I continue to enjoy being involved in the growth and well-being and various issues that come up to our council that affect our township. I too am a property owner and a resident, and I pay taxes, so I know how people feel. And I asked myself, what kind of a counselor would I want? I guess I would want someone who was easy to talk to, who was approachable, and who would respond to me. I would want someone who responded in a timely manner, and someone who would look at the things that I'm concerned about and explain them to me if I didn't understand them. I have been, I believe, that kind of a counselor my term on council, and have helped many people with their issues, and I will continue to do so. If you contact me with concerns, I'll respond, usually the same day. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheila. All right, Ray. Mute is bottom left on your window there, a little microphone with a red line through it.
Okay. I'm on.
Yep, we can hear you. You got a minute and a half to tell us about yourself.
Okay. I'm Ray Johnston, and number one, I want to thank you for putting this on, Joel, through the chamber. I've been a resident for now 49 years in Douro. We moved here when we got married. I've got 3 children. They all live in the area. 2 live right in Douro and Warsaw. And I run a business, Ray Johnston Heating, which I have ran it for 48 years. And I've been on council for many terms. And I want to go back on with some issues that I see that are ongoing, and they will be ongoing, but I want to try to resolve and help out in any way I can. And that's regarding our roads, and again, continue trying to apply for provincial grants. With the official plan, county official plan coming down, I'm hoping then to see what we're doing with this prime agricultural land for our farmers. For we all know we need food in the future, and for our seniors, talking to a lot of seniors lately, and their concerns on housing and medical and different more groups that they can belong in. Over the years, I've been on I'm on the Knights of Columbus in Douro, and I'm on the work with the Lions in Warsaw, and I've been around for a long time, and I want to continue on with the work that I was doing before on council. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ray, and everyone else for your opening statements. So now we're going to get into our question and answer period for the night. And so again, keeping in mind, if we can be concise, we can get through some more material. And 1 minute is not a lot, and I apologize. This first question is quite broad, and I'm sure some of you could talk for a lot more time on it. I certainly could. But our question number 1, and just a reminder, Tom Watt, you'll be up first to answer this. So question number 1, how do you see your township growing and developing over the next 4 years?
Thanks, Joel. That is a very broad question. As our one of our people has said here earlier, water and sewer is a big drawback for trying to address a lot of incoming businesses and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean we can't get around it somehow. But I do see growth thing. People want to stay at home, so if we can kind of lock up some of the red tape and make it easier for people that have places here now, their children, stuff like that, to stay in this community, That's something we have to look towards. It's maybe not an easy thing to do, but that's one of our big goals, I think, in the next few years here is to keep people here and attract more people. How we're going to do it, I think that's going to be a spearhead of the 5 councillors to come up with some kind of an idea and put it in action. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Harold.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now, Joel?
Yep, we got you.
Well, Joel, I see that we have the opportunity. I don't know exactly what all was in the official plan for the county, but I certainly see that I am against putting more lots on farmland. We need that farmland for to grow food for people, but Douro-Dummer is well blessed with a lot of stony acres. And I can see that there is a lot of opportunity to get more lots and keep our kids in this area. As the world gets smaller with the technology and so many people are now being able to work from home, and especially with COVID, it's certainly proved that a lot of businesses and a lot of people can actually work at home if we have the technology to provide them there.
Thanks so much. All right, Adam.
Thank you. I moved here roughly 4 years ago, actually, to start a business. I started up a relatively small dairy farm where I milk about 30 Jersey cows. And having lived in Western Ontario, where land was incredibly expensive, I looked to Central Ontario and looked at a number of places. And to me, Douro-Dummer seemed like an excellent fit. Reasonably good quality land, despite some of it being stony. There are a lot of good places as well. Seems to be relatively ample water, fantastic community feeling to the area as well. And feel quite fortunate to have discovered the area. And from my perspective, I think agriculture is a major growth area that's possible. A lot of people in Western Ontario have the opportunity to move here and to take advantage of a lot of underutilized farmland that exists here.
Perfect. Thanks so much. All right, Mark Trudeau. You're on mute, Mark. Don't worry, I was the first one of the night.
I think that's a great question. And I think it comes down to strategic planning and working together. The future of this township, there's so many different aspects that need attention. Our roads being a top priority with a number of our voters, our infrastructure, our tourism. There's so many areas where we can focus and grow this township. I support all 3 of those specific areas in growth. And I think with strategic planning and working together, both the council and the voters, we can get it done.
All right, thanks so much. Mark Porter.
Thanks. I guess when you talk about growth, you could break it down into, a couple different categories. They're connected from a tax-based perspective, both housing and economic development. So I'll focus primarily on economic development for the moment. I think that rural economic development has to focus on small business. We don't have the infrastructure. I think it would be burdensome. And if there are alternatives, I am all ears to water and sewer. So big business is an issue, but land and connectivity and government red tape are things that, we need to meet for small business needs. We need to look at land use and zoning, as Harold pointed out. The rocky components of our local landscape need to be looked at. Can they be rezoned for other purposes? I've considered moving my own business here, and land is an issue. Connectivity sounds like we're going to get that over the next 36 to 40 months, so that's great. We'll see how that works out. And then red tape, my belief is we need to get out of the way
real quick here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we need to get out of the way as council and help businesses settle here in order to generate those taxes.
All right, thanks, Mark. Jim.
Yeah, thanks. Again, growth and development, to me, those are number one business things we have to deal with as a business. And one of the things that's kind of got my ear a little bit talking to constituents is our building permitting process has some things that we need to work through a little bit. And I'd like us to be known at the end of our terms that Douro-Dummer Township is a place you want to do business, where you want to live and you want to play, and we're open for business. So I'd like to look at that, have the whole process be a little more proactive, maybe customer oriented, and high-speed internet's another impediment, I think. And, you know, we've got the announcement from the provincial government that there's going to be extended funding there, but to do the work at home and just the connectivity we do need to get that high-speed internet. And maybe there are other options we can look at to do that. And lake water quality is also, I think, something we have to watch for with the environmental issues happening, and just to make sure we preserve the good lake quality. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jim. Marie.
Thank you. Excellent questions. One of the things I'm going to touch on, because my fellow colleagues here on the call this evening answered a lot of your questions. Certainly I think we need to work to our strengths. One of the biggest strengths that we have in Douro-Dummer is our community. And I heard Adam mention agribusiness, and that's music to my heart. High-speed internet is something that we have to have within our community in order to meet the growing demands of the township. And the other thing I'd like to draw attention to is the fact that we have had a major integration of people from other communities that have come here in the past 2 years. We need to seriously examine that and how we're going to integrate these people that we haven't had an opportunity to meet yet over the next little while into our community. I'm meeting lots on my campaign trail. I think there's lots of work that we can do there to help ensure the success of the growth of the township, just by these new individuals that are coming in with very innovative ideas. We need to be willing to hear them, and we need to take action. And Jim, you know, again, music to my heart, certainly red tape. We can't stand in the way of this type of innovation. We've got to find a way for government to meet the people where they're at. Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. All right, Sheila.
Thank you. The closer you get to the end of the question line, the more what you were going to say gets used up. But one thing I would be interested in focusing on is really studying the settlement areas for building and increasing homes. And I do agree with it not being taken out of good farmland. I don't think it's necessary to take a good lot that is a good farmable lot and make it into necessarily, unless it's a family severing a lot for a family member. But I would be focusing on the settlement areas and what could be done housing wise. And again, also the high-speed internet is important.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Sheila. All right, Ray.
Thank you. You hear me right? I'm on now? Okay. Again, I think we really need to support our small businesses. I think that's very critical. We don't have too much commercial areas in our municipality, so I think we really got to support the small business. Our community centers, I think we got to work on developing them. They're old, and we've got a lot of youth in the township and playing a lot of sports, and I think we got to I know we've started doing a study on how we can make use of the building and maybe even more, make more buildings. But the bottom line is we got to support our youth and the high-speed internet, which is we've got a lot of it now. I think that's a very must down the road. And again, the severances, I think it's a very needed thing in our township. Again, we can't take it off good farmland. I understand that. And again, we got to see what we can do about this red tape. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. All right, Heather.
Thank you, Joel. Growing and development in municipality is certainly a challenge looking ahead. And if I was elected as mayor, in the next 4 years, I would look at creative land use planning. You know, we've looked at secondary suites. We're bringing in tiny homes. How else can we get severances and allow people to take up residence here in the community? On the business front, more focused on supporting business retention and expansion. There are a number of small cottage type industries as well as retail businesses that we want to continue to work to support, and we would do that with our partners like economic development. And then agribusiness, of course, has been mentioned as a common theme, working with our farm businesses to help them be able to continue to grow. Ongoing work to expand our broadband and the cell gap project so that people have the connectivity that they need to be able to conduct business and work from home. And finally, investing in our facilities and infrastructure so that we can attract outside investment and perhaps be a destination for sport tourism, for example. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Heather, and thanks everyone. So that was our first question. Harold, you will be up first for our next one. So a lot of businesses are struggling right now to meet their labor needs, especially in rural areas. What is your plan to attract workers so businesses can grow and thrive? So Harold, you're first. And you can feel free to ask anybody to get the question repeated again as we go. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Sorry about that. Joel, I feel that I hear this from everybody around that they're having trouble hiring people. And I'm just not exactly sure what the reason is. I know some people are paying half decent wages. Like it's not, I don't believe that is an issue. I'm just not sure since COVID what has been. It seems like a miraculous thing that people are not taking jobs, and I'm not sure why. I really am not sure why the young people are not coming to the forefront and taking these jobs, because I'm hearing it from business owner after business owner after business owner. So I think probably maybe more in-depth look at that to help them to hire people.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks.
Joe.
Yeah, Adam.
The labor shortage challenge isn't unique to this area. It's definitely a province-wide issue, and I would even argue a national issue. I think that council needs to work with the county and the province in order to address some of this issue. Sitting here as a business owner myself, I look at it and I think the really only real options that are there are increasing automation to reduce the need for workers. And another option, of course, is looking at our settlement areas and seeing how we can build more homes for people, trying to get more people to move into the area, thereby a little bit more population to fill some of these vacancies that are out there. But I think, as previously mentioned, collaborating with other levels of government to arrive on a solution that covers the broader issue.
All right, thanks, Adam. Mark Trudeau. You're on mute.
I got to agree. This is not a municipal issue in the sense of, just it being an issue in our township. It's a province-wide issue. I know our local area, owning a business ourselves and having a farm and trying to hire local people to help out with labor is darn near impossible. So how do we get people to get out and work in the area? We attract more people, more population, more density of population. We make our township the best it can be to bring people out here who want to work from home, or perhaps bring their families and their children out who are looking for part-time work, because a lot of the small businesses are looking to hire younger staff part-time. Affordable housing is a big issue. Rental costs, having alternative homes such as tiny homes or mobile homes or prefabbed homes on smaller lots is also an opportunity for us to draw additional workers to the community.
Thanks so much. Mark Porter.
Well, Sheila, I know what you mean. By the time you get to the end of the conversation, you're running out of ammo. But really, I think, you know, I too have clients ranging from 5 employees to 1,500, and this is the common theme. Everybody, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking for laborers or extremely skilled trained people, they're all running into the same issue. So I think housing affordability is an underlying issue. I think we have an advantage in theory. We do have a slightly lower than average housing costs in our neck of the woods compared to other places. And this is my view of things, because I made the joke earlier. I love Toronto. I love to visit, but I love to get home. The reason why people live here is it's the lifestyle. We're selling a lifestyle of living in a community as beautiful as ours. And we have to figure out a way to market ourselves in that capacity and help businesses do that as well.
Thanks so much. Jim.
Yes. Attracting business and related jobs is, again, part of your business model. And to me, I mean, just piggybacking up on some of the points that are already been mentioned, but tourism to me it's a great opportunity for our youth to get summer employment. It's a great opportunity to promote all the great things we have in our township, and not only our settlement areas, but our lakes and tourism around the lakes. I think one thing that maybe we should focus a little bit on with our aging population is our healthcare workers and the COVID fatigue that they've got, and just wondering whether or not we can orient ourselves a little bit and try to make it easier and sell ourselves as a good place for healthcare workers to come and live and service our community. So that's kind of where I'm at with that stuff.
All right, thanks, Jim. Marie.
Hi, thank you. I think we're going to have to work together with our partners, the county, the colleges, and the universities that are available to us to look for innovative and strategic ideas. We need to understand the problem from the business perspective. Where are they having trouble attracting labor? What sector is it that they're working in? And how big is the issue? So affordable housing has been mentioned, but nobody's touched on the fact that transportation costs are also important. And getting from point A, let's say you live in the city of Peterborough, to the county in order to do your job or work is definitely going to affect whether or not you can afford to take the job that the employer is offering you. So I think we've got to look at that whole living cost and balance again. And also, where do we sit as a municipality? Are we looking at how we are balancing the costs for the people living in our township? I think that that's an important factor. I think innovation, and of course, others have mentioned the strengths that we have, community, but we need to come together and bring that together with our partners, being the county, the colleges and universities, and look at how we're going to address this issue strategically.
Thanks, Marie. Sheila.
Before you start my clock, I'm sorry, could I have the question read again? I'm finding the answers are off in different directions, and I just like to rehear the question.
Absolutely, and this goes for everyone. This doesn't count against anyone's time. So the question is, what is your plan to attract workers so businesses can grow and thrive?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think we first of all have to realize that business is different. Businesses have had to modify and adjust and make changes over the past 2.5 years, and it's changed the way they operate. So we need to either understand that maybe you're working only online now and you're doing your product and shipping it out, and therefore you don't need as many employees, and take into account also the fact that many people left their professions because of COVID and have changed work direction tremendously. And I think it's got to be a whole lot of strategy put together to try and figure out ways to keep them back. Maybe, well, no, I'm going to run out of time if I continue that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sheila. Ray. Oh, you're still on mute.
Hello.
There we go. Yep.
Yes. Well, I work in the trade, and I know all across Ontario, especially the Peterborough area. You just cannot get people to do work in the trades. I've talked to the colleges, and what they're doing now is that they're letting young people that are in high school, and they'll let them go out to work, and that can go towards their apprenticeship. And I think that's going to help an awful lot. But as far as getting the tradespeople, I wish I had an answer because I could use them myself. But I think the thing is, it was hit before, tourists. I think that's a big item because there's a lot of spin-offs on that where there's summer help and then some of them then stay on. But anyways, I think we've got to put our heads together because that's a tough one. Everybody's hurting. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Heather.
Thank you. I was fortunate enough about a month or so ago to sit in on a tourism roundtable that was hosted by our MP, and a number of rural tourism operators were speaking about their concerns firsthand in attracting labor. The challenge is, you know, a lot of people, not just students, but people are looking for part-time work as opposed to full-time work. So we need to help our local businesses get creative in terms of how they're posting those positions. We need to look at, as other folks have said this evening, room housing and accommodations for people, whether that's room and board programs with Canada Home Share, a nonprofit organization that matches students to seniors with rooms in their homes, so that we can get people in the community so that they can work. And then also, to a point that was made earlier, help businesses leverage those automation tools. I have a company, we work extremely remotely. Everybody is all over the place, and we're working with local businesses right now, teaching them how to use tools to do the work, do the tasks more efficiently, and also to help them look at hiring and working with remote workforce to fill those jobs.
Thanks so much, Heather. Tom.
Sorry, that was my dog just ran by the table chasing. Okay. Yeah, tough question. And I mean, there's so much speculation going around. So I'll be quite frank here. I don't think the government handouts over the last 2 years really helped the situation any. People don't want to go back to work. Hey, I got free money. Why would I go back to work? But one of the big problems that we seem to have is companies, and I know I worked at one, to be quite honest with you, great place to work, so I got, but the wages are barely enough to let people get by. They want to hire people on contracts so they don't have to have benefits and so on and so forth, which makes it very, very tough for someone, especially bringing up a family. Like, those benefits make a great deal of difference if you have a couple of children. So, I mean, we have to educate the whole group. I mean, the people that need a job, what they need to do to get a job, and the companies also stand up to the plate and say, hey, we need you, so we're going to help support what you need to work for us. So that's where I'm sitting.
All right, thanks, Tom. Thanks, everyone. So do you have a quick comment, Mark?
Yeah, it was, I do have some thoughts, something about what Ray said about trades, and this is a long-standing position that I have. And I firmly believe that there's at a federal and provincial level that there is a lack of education strategy matching supply with demand in terms of matching the trades. We have, and I went through this. I'm of an ilk where, in an age where we went through this too. Kids are coming out of school with Bachelor of Arts degrees who don't use them, and they're not coming out with, they're not being encouraged at grade 10, 11, 12, 13 to stream into the trades. I know that that's changing slowly, but that, I think, is what's contributing largely to what Ray mentioned.
Appreciate your comments there. We're just going to keep things moving. We're going to go into the next question now. And so, Adam, you are going to be first up to answer this. And we've already talked a little bit about this tonight, you know, in a bit of a frustrating way, that a lot of business issues are not hyper-local. They're not unique to Douro-Dummer Township. They're not unique to even the city, the county. And so, on that note of larger cooperation, what role should the township play in the bigger picture of Peterborough County, the city, the whole region? So first up is Adam.
Thank you. That's a very, very broad question. I would be the first to say that. We don't have all of the answers in this township to solve all of the province's problems and the country's problems with respect to this. But I would say that if we focus on our own local needs first, I always say our constituents in this township, we have a lot of very, very bright, educated, experienced, passionate people that have a great deal of understanding about the area and about local issues. If we can tap into some of that knowledge, we can work together with them to help address some of these issues, at least at a local level, and hopefully some of that work that we do there can spill over in a positive way a little bit further out.
All right, thanks, Adam. Mark Trudeau. You're on mute still.
I'm going to ask you please to repeat that question.
Yeah,
it was a pretty long and detailed
Yeah.
question. I just want to make sure I address it properly.
Sure, and I ad-libbed the background on it. But the question itself, what role should the township play in the larger picture of Peterborough County, the city, and the region as a whole? So where does the township fit into this much larger way to deal with some of the local issues for the council?
Well, I mean, that's a very, again, that's a broad question, and it depends on the context of the conversation when you're asking that question. I would say that our township is really an opportunity within the Peterborough County. We're a bedroom community to the city of Peterborough. We currently offer services within our hockey arenas and arenas for ice time to those citizens. I think there's areas of improvement there where we can capitalize on that. I think growth within the township will only support Peterborough County as far as business and development for both homes and businesses in our community with jobs. I think those are major areas where we can focus. Having a good voice at the table with the county is important as well. We need to be there to support the county and advocate for our township.
All right, thanks, Mark. Mark Porter.
Thanks. So I hope it goes without saying. I mean, I think in my mind, you know, as councillors, mayor, deputy mayor, whatever the case may be, our accountability is always first and foremost to our constituents in the township. You know, and so I think that's number one. But the other thing is, I think that, you know, there's opportunities to collaborate with the county, city, as the case may be. You know, when we don't have the resources to deal with an issue head on, and something that comes to mind based on conversation with someone earlier this week was, you know, we have an issue with, or an issue, maybe we don't have an issue, but there's a perceived issue around short-term rentals on waterfront, which I think we're all aware of. And I don't think that that's something that we have the resources, pockets, or energy to tackle on our own. And it's a county-wide issue. So that's an example where we need to tackle something as a larger community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. All right, Jim.
Yeah, and I agree with Mark too, that's a hot topic, the short-term rental thing. And that, again, that is a county-wide thing that we can do. The shoreline naturalization, that kind of thing, we can perhaps move that up to county level. But I really think what role our township can have could perhaps be just starting a conversation about sharing assets, sharing resources more efficiently amongst all of us within the county. And I've had commented a few times with folks about, like, why do we have two transportation plans, one for the city, one for the county? Why do we have two land use plans, one for the city, one for the county? We're really a regional area, and to promote regional growth, we really should be thinking in terms of one transportation plan and one land use plan. So I'd be just assisting in that process of trying to start those kind of conversations and see where they might go. And in the long run, I think they'll pay dividends to all of us in the county.
Thanks, Jim. Marie.
Wow, this is a really tough question. I think that when we look historically at what we've done in the township of Douro-Dummer, we've had very strong relationships with our partners at the county level, so much so that our current mayor is the warden of the county. So I think that historically we've got a history there that we can build from. So when we're talking about business issues that are not unique to this township, I think we want to start, I would think, at that county level of government and say, what is the business issue? You know, let's get to the bottom of that particular issue. And then what can we do to work at this together? When we start to talk about bringing the city of Peterborough into that, having worked for the city for 20 years, the issues that are being addressed there are significantly different. And although there are opportunities to partner, and we've done that, we've got a history of doing that with the city as well. I think we've got to be careful that we're not mixing apples with oranges, and we need to make sure that we're keeping our taxpayer and what's happening in Douro Township close to our heart, but also work with those partners collaboratively if there's an issue that we can help them address. So I think with that, I think innovation is what's going to really drive our help of business issues and working collaboratively with our partners.
All right. Thanks, Marie. Sheila.
Thank you. I thought I was going to get by without having somebody say what I was thinking. Absolutely, Douro-Dummer needs to have a good relationship with all the other townships and with the county, and we do. And I think that's important, but I think we also have to realize that we are from Douro-Dummer, and that's the township that we want to see grow and have changes. And perhaps getting a group together from the county that had people from all the townships who could sit down, and as Adam said, there's a lot of talent here, and perhaps they could sort of put their thoughts together, because it is a difficult question. And if they could do that, possibly something, you know, not out of the box would be arising from it.
All right, thanks, Sheila. Ray.
Thank you. Well, I think again that we got to, we have joined forces with a lot of situations with Peterborough and the surrounding county. But the thing is, I think we need to show them that we stand firm that they need us for on the agriculture end of it, for cattle, for beef, for vegetables. That they need us for like they use our hockey arenas, they use our parks. I think again we need to just promote ourselves and be willing to share anything we can share, whether it be at times of the year some equipment. In the past we've done that, and I think you know, we're an arm of the county, which is circled by Peterborough, and I think all we can do is kind of work together and be there and use their services when we can too.
Thanks, Ray. Heather.
Thank you. Douro-Dummer Township has long-standing traditions that we need to build on and not lose sight of. We need to continue to advocate for residents and businesses in this community and harness the power and their knowledge to be able to make change and grow. And that doesn't mean not working with our municipal neighbors. Of course, it does mean working with and building those partnerships so that we can leverage economies of scale. We're already doing that, as others have said this evening. Even, you know, on a one-off basis, working with our, you know, Asphodel Norwood next door to hire somebody in IT, that both of our municipalities needed that resource. So there are those opportunities to work together, and we need to continue that culture of working together, but still building on the traditions and maintaining the culture of Douro-Dummer Township.
Thanks, Heather. Tom.
Yes. You know, getting to interaction between the county and our other municipalities, stuff like that. I know our mayor and deputy mayor represent us well at county council, and that really, really helps us out. But our CAO and our clerk also have their things like the clerk's department, they all get together, the CAOs get together. They discuss things, what happens, what's coming up, what have you done on this issue? So it already is in motion, which is really good. We need to build on it now. It wasn't so long ago, our fire department came up with a training method that was like, it was just something that was out of this world, kind of like that. And the city of Peterborough actually adopted it. So, you know, and that was maybe going back 5 or 6 years ago, but it was a real feather in our cap that you know, so these ideas and everything do get around and they do get shared. We just have to work more on the city. It's a work in progress. We have had our ups and downs trying to work with them, but you know, maybe that'll change here. And my last thing is partner with services. We already do it. We partner with certain ones, as Heather just said. We have to do that more, and the more partners we get in, the more the price comes down. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tom. Harold.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but we all already have the Economic Development Corporation that is our partners with all municipalities within the county and the city. And that Economic Development Corporation actually works very hard on all of our behalves to not only attract new businesses, but actually work with the businesses that are already established. I know that they would be more than happy to extend a helping hand to any of the businesses within their realm of expertise. And so that Economic Development Corporation that we all belong to is definitely there for our help and our support for a lot of our local businesses. So that we can definitely lean our hat on them and look for their expertise.
All right, thanks, Harold. Thanks everyone for answering that question. So our next question, I've seen it come up in the Q&A. It's been referenced by a couple of people here, and I think we'd be remiss by not addressing it. And so first up on this one, Mark Trudeau, you'll be the first to answer this. So short-term rentals are a growing point of conflict and controversy. What is your plan to address the growth of short-term rentals in the township? Mark.
Well, short-term rentals are a concern, but also an opportunity for us to grow as a township. I've recently had opportunity to chat with local folks, and I think what we need to do as a township and to be responsible about that is to review our policy around short-term rentals, tighten or perhaps restructure our policies around that. Also consider collecting additional taxes on those short-term rentals. Companies like Airbnb and others like that, they'll actually collect tax on the rental and pay that down to the township. So that's a revenue stream there, an opportunity. More so, not everybody renting short-term rentals is going there to party. Me and my family, we partake in short-term rentals. There's plenty of opportunities for other short-term rentals in our community that aren't party. So we need to look and support those that aren't.
Thanks, Mark. Mark Porter.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Sort of had laid out some thoughts about this, and initially sort of thrown it under tourism. And to be honest with you, my idea is that this is not really the tourism that we want per se. In terms of short term, while I don't think that they're all bad, I agree with what Mark Trudeau is saying. I'm concerned that they're changing the fabric of the communities where they're located when they are not an individual, say, and I don't, but might say such as myself, and I want to rent out the cottage 4 or 5 weeks a year and pay for some taxes and some upkeep and some overhead. But I am concerned where it's strictly a commercial endeavor. The owners do not, they're never there, and it's strictly being managed by a management company. I think that requires, again, as Mark pointed out, licensing, taxation, enforcement, things of that nature. But at the same time, I would say that enforcement of that would be a burden on the township. So that's why I go back to saying I think it's a county-wide issue that needs to be tackled at that level.
Thanks, Mark. Jim?
Yeah, it certainly is a hot subject. And I guess, and you're right, we have to make the distinction between those that are in the business of renting properties and those that are just doing it for friends and family. And somebody was telling me not too long ago, a lawyer on Upper Stony Lake was saying that, did you know that there's like big corporations and big individuals that are buying up properties all over the place? And they're doing it for the one reason only, and that's to convert the property use to an income property and rent it. And you know, that's a change of use to me, and that change of use ought to go through proper zoning and, you know, be commercial and pay taxes accordingly. And I like what Alana's got going on with this task force, a citizens task force to look into short-term rentals. Will come up with the best solution for Douro-Dummer Township. There are two sides to that debate, and I like the idea that we've got going on in Douro-Dummer Township.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Marie?
It's a very tough issue for sure. And the reason that it is probably coming up to the forefront is primarily because of bad experiences. And so the one thing that comes to my mind is that not all of the experiences with short-term rentals are or should be considered bad. In fact, during COVID, we saw many opportunities where people needed desperately to get out of the city and get out of their environment and come and experience what those of us sitting in this meeting tonight take for granted, the ability to experience that sense of freedom of walking on a Douro-Dummer road or park like the Johnson Trails. So we have to be careful about what we do in this area. But I do support what Jim has said, that when we see that there is a significant change of use with a property, we have to start to address that. But I also don't want us to ignore agribusinesses that see this as a significant opportunity for people to come and experience agriculture firsthand. And not only experience it, but it increases their education of this sector. So I think that that's also a very important thing. And I wasn't aware of Alana's task force, but I certainly could see where that will help inform any decision there in the future. And that
Thanks.
is the strength of our municipality. So thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, Sheila.
Thank you. I love this question. It needs to be organized, and they need to be licensed, and they need to be following rules, and there have to be rules put in place. There's a big difference between renting a short-term rental on a county road or a township road and renting one on the water. They arrive with very little education on how to operate a boat, and we've had some near misses, quite a few of them. There need to be rules, and they need to be applied. And this could be a great place to get a joint group of enforcement if it was county-wide. And just would close with being able to dispel a rumor that I own one. I do not, never have, and don't plan to. So there, love that question.
Thanks, Sheila. Ray?
Yes. Well, right off the bat, I'm against the Airbnb example, that business. I have a cottage, and now I have two of them, and if I want to rent one to somebody, which I don't, I use them, the families use them, but I wouldn't feel bad about doing that because I'm right next door. So I know what's going on. But just for the people who are coming down from other places and want to just spend there for a night or two, I mean, they just want to just let loose. And I'm against that. You know, I mean, it's not fair to the neighbors, and they come down and they want to run the four-wheelers all hours of the night, one thing after another. It's just that the neighborhood isn't built that way. And so therefore I'm personally against the system like the Airbnb. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Heather?
Thank you. The reality is nobody wants to have a party house next door to them, much less 7 or 8 on their street. where are all short-term rentals and we don't know who our neighbors are. The bigger issue at play is the gig economy is really commercializing neighborhoods, not just with accommodations, but we're seeing pool rentals and gyms happening in our backyard, Airbnb style, and it can destroy a sense of safety and community. Some of the folks here tonight have already mentioned, and I agree with licensing, taxation, and enforcement. We need to strengthen our bylaws so that when those noise complaints come in, the police have something that they can actually enforce and put tickets to. And that enforcement comes through taxation, through accommodation taxes that those guests could pay and those companies like Airbnb could collect. We also should look to organizations like the Federation of Cottagers Association, FOCA, and they've done a lot of work around the province around this, and creating visitor information sheets, teaching the people who have licenses to own these and operate these to work with neighbors so we can create harmonious and sustainable use of those.
Thanks, Heather. Tom.
Yeah, thank you. It's a mess, there's no doubt. And it's not just our township, it's not just the county, it's the whole province. We've had things in our council meetings from Eastern Ontario, Western Ontario, Northern Ontario. It's everywhere. And I know there's a lot of working together to try and come up with a general consensus on how to govern the whole thing. Am I in favor of the rentals? It depends on what it is, exactly what people have said here so far. If it's a mom and pop trying to rent a couple of weeks or a year, and they scrutinize who those people are, it's just not a willy-nilly thing. They know who they're renting to. They're just trying to help offset the taxes or maybe an upgrade or renovation or something. I have no problem with that. It's the ones that, and this is not in stone, but there's a rumor that like some conglomeration on Stony Clear White Lake already have 10 business or 10 cottages already that they bought up and renting them out, and it's just willy-nilly, and we don't have anything in place, but we have to work on that, and the task force is really going to help us.
Thanks, Tom. Harold.
Yes, I do understand that there is a task force in place, and as everybody has said, it is definitely it's a hot topic. So I really want to, I guess, reserve my more of my thoughts on that until I see all the everything that is in play with it. I am not against I guess Airbnbs. I've used them myself in the past, traveling different places, and it's a great way for a short-term rental to be within, and I've met a lot of nice people by doing that, by using them accommodations, because hotel rooms were not available. We could not get hotel rooms anywhere. They were booked solid, and Airbnbs allowed us to travel and stay at the locations that we went to. So I'm waiting for the task force to actually really make my decisions up on that, and some kind of a licensing or something might be in need. Thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Adam.
Thanks, Joel. This is actually my favorite question because I think it's the easiest one to answer. I've talked to well over 50 constituents about this topic. And when I talk about short-term rentals and I talk to constituents about them, we refer to them as commercial businesses that are essentially running a hotel. And those constituents have told me, and that's what I will stand up for, are the constituents who elect me. And the answer for me is ban them outright. We don't need legislation, government overreach and monitoring and additional tax revenue. We just want people that live in the community to actually enjoy being here and to enjoy their property the way that they bought it, as opposed to having a hotel set up next door. As I say, for me, this is a very, very cut and dry issue. While I appreciate a task force being formed to discuss the issue, eventually at some point, someone's going to have to make their mind up on council and have the political will to do something on it. And I want to be that person.
All right, thanks, Adam. And recognizing we're 6:45 right now, so we don't have time for any more questions. Now, I have a lot more on my list. I've seen a lot more come up through the Q&A, and I know people have them on their minds. I've been to the Douro-Dummer website, Everybody has contact information there. I have mass emailed all of these people personally on some things, and yeah, feel free to reach out and find out their stances on some of these issues and the things we didn't get a chance to cover tonight. We're going to go into closing statements. And as I said before, we do have an Asheville-Norwood debate coming up at 7:30. And so I would ask everybody to really try and keep to your minute and a half that you have here so that we can close this meeting out and move on to the next one in a timely manner. So up first is Mark Porter, and you've got a minute and a half to make your closing statements.
Thanks. As your candidate for Douro Ward Councillor, I would greatly appreciate your support on Monday, October the 24th. I believe that we all have a role to play in ensuring our community reaches its full potential, and I believe there's a lot of work to do. With your support, I'm hoping that my path takes me through Township Council. At the same time, I understand that words are cheap and that very little happens without precious tax dollars being allocated to important projects. That's why if I'm elected, I will donate my entire first-year councillor's compensation back to the community to fund initiatives that might not otherwise find a place in the budget. While I recognize that this might not be enough to fund an arena or replace a fire hall, it might buy chainsaws, for instance, for the fire trucks to ensure that responders can get through after a storm like we had on May 21st of this year. At the very least, I hope this demonstrates that I'm dedicated to doing my part to ensure that Douro-Dummer continues to be the best place to live and raise a family in the region. On Monday, October 24th, please vote Mark Porter for Douro Ward. Thank you.
Mark, thanks so much. Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. And again, thank you for the Chamber for hosting this and all you folks out there tuning in. I believe I'm a business leader. I ran businesses for well over 40 years. Everything I've ever done has been from a leadership position, and I believe I am best suited for Mayor Douro-Dummer Township. There's lots of things on our radar screens, the improved road conditions and safety. We've got a lot of different users using our roads now. We got to think about that. The whole building permit process being more proactive, I think, is important. Looking at environmentally sustainable opportunities and amplify the shop local kind of thing. Promoting our own businesses. Looking at affordable housing opportunities. As I suggested earlier, beginning conversations with our municipal neighbors about sharing resources and assets more efficiently. We do a great job at it now, but there could be better ways. Transportation solutions to help residents commute to and from the city is important. The whole short-term rental issue, we got to figure that out, and improving access to high-speed internet. And I guess with my financial background too, I'm kind of curious and interested in looking at the asset management studies that we've done and just working with community members and discussions on how to optimize the use of all of our assets. And then the whole budget process this year, engaging our taxpayers so that we can minimize tax increases and improve the transparency of our budget process. So vote for me on October 24. I'd love to be your mayor, and together we'll make a difference. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Marie.
Similar to others, I'd like to thank everyone for attending and for the opportunity to participate this evening. I hope that in watching the discussions that have taken place, that you will see that I'm a candidate who likes to understand the problem, look at the options, consider the alternatives, make an informed decision. But the one piece that you can't have seen from the discussion is that I would intend to come back and evaluate that solution at a later date. That's very important to me. First and foremost, I hope you also recognize that I find Douro-Dummer is very valuable to me in my life experience, and I would appreciate your support on October 24th. I believe that I do have the experience and the knowledge that can help our township move forward in an innovative and progressive way. Thank you, and thank you all.
Thanks, Marie. Sheila.
Thank you. Decision-making is the job of council as a team. No one makes a decision. No one person makes a decision, but it's equally important that you understand a team doesn't always agree on everything. You should probably be more concerned if they did agree on everything. Differing opinions promote healthy discussions. I appreciate having had the opportunity to provide you with a brief overview of my thoughts. And I do have one request to make of you. Please vote It's a right that we have, and it's a freedom, and we should be very proud of that. Prior to the election, you'll receive your PIN notification in the mail. And if you have any difficulties, you're welcome to contact me or contact the township. And it was a pleasant evening to speak with everybody tonight. And I do thank you for your past confidence in me. With your support, I would be pleased to continue work as your counselor for the coming term. My thanks to Joel and to the chamber for the evening. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, Sheila. Ray.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this together, Joel. I want to say that, again, I lived here for a long time and my families have all come through here. And my stance on this is to be here for my grandchildren, to be a better place than it is a great place now, but to continue being a great place. And where we need to do some infrastructure work on, including the roads and the arenas and all these things, I'm there for those reasons. I want to be very accessible to all our voters. And like it was said earlier, all people need to get out and vote. And again, I want to thank you for this tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Heather.
Thank you. It's been a privilege to serve on council for the past 4 years as Douro Ward councillor. My experience in both business, nonprofit, and government gives me a very unique perspective. I have a track record of building partnerships, and I'm committed to do that to serve the residents of our community. It's work that requires presence in this community year-round. Further, you can count on me to make decisions with the entire community at heart, not representing any special interest group. I want to build on the traditions of our community, not look at selling out to the city or county, but to continue to work with them so we can all grow together. Again, I thank the community for your support for the past 4 years as Douro Ward councillor. I look forward to being able to serve the community as your mayor for the next 4 years if I'm fortunate enough to earn your vote. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Heather. Tom.
Yes, again, thank you, Joel, and the chamber for hosting this evening. Thank you to everyone here that joined us tonight, whether it be the panelists or people looking online. But the panelists, I mean, there's been some great answers. There's been some great discussion here. Some great ideas have come out. And I tell you what, in the next 4 years, I look forward to working with any of the four of others of you that will join me for the next council term. It's been really, really great. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. I just want to say thank you for the confidence that the township had in me to so that I'm claimed. And just a couple of little off ones, whatever, for voting coming up. There's a lot of people that aren't comfortable with voting online or using the telephone. There will be a station set up or a couple stations set up in the town hall that people can come to the hall in the time frame. I think it's the 10 days that we have. And someone from staff will sit down with you and show you how to go ahead and do your vote and do it properly. It'll be all private once they've given you the tutorial. It doesn't take very long, but that option is out there. So very much take advantage of it if necessary. The last thing, you know, I've really enjoyed my terms on council. I'm looking forward to enjoying the next term. And, you know, I've had 4 in now. This is my 5th. I'm a second generation for my family. My mom was a first lady councillor in Dummer Township back in the early 70s. So I'm filling her shoes. And thank you very much for this evening.
Thanks, Tom. Harold.
Thank you very much, Joel, and thank you very much to the chamber for having us all on tonight and this very healthy discussion. It just shows the passion and the commitment of all the candidates, actually, that they really do care about the community, and that's what it's all about. And that's a terrific thing to see. But I can tell you, as I will work hard if I am elected on not only for the township, but also at the county level, and do my best to represent all of the taxpayers in the in the township and in the county. So I will work hard and represent you as best as I possibly can. Thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Adam.
Thanks again, Joel, and to the Chamber for putting on this event, and thanks to all of our viewers, and thanks to everyone else who's on here running as a candidate. It takes a lot of dedication and thick skin sometimes to run and to do a job in municipal politics. So good on everyone here. I do ask you very kindly for your vote in the voting window coming up here in October, ending on the 24th. So multiple ways in which you can vote, and I do ask you for that vote as your candidate for the Dummer ward. I'm always available by text, phone, or email, and no question too big or too small. I've had the pleasure of speaking with many constituents, in some cases half an hour plus. Being a dairy farmer, I do have some periods of the day where I'm doing pretty manual tasks that don't require a lot of thought. So having a great conversation with the constituent while doing chores for half an hour, usually about short-term rentals or agriculture or resources that we have in the area, is a great way for me to spend my time and a great way for constituents to engage with me. And again, thank you, and I do look forward to your vote.
Thanks, Adam. Mark Trudeau.
First, Joel, thanks again for organizing this evening and doing all the work you're doing over the next week with all the different townships. Having a voice and being able to have this platform is very, it's great. It's just great. We had over 70 people on this call tonight. That's great turnout. That's very impressive, and it's encouraging because it tells me that there's a number of concerned and interested voters out there in our township. So as a lot of the past people have said, get out and vote. Voting is your right. It's your ability to have a voice in the community and see the person that you want at the table, helping make the decisions that are having to be made on a biweekly basis. Voting starts October 11th, runs till the 24th. It's done via telephone or online. Our staff at the town hall or township offices are there to help you if you're not comfortable doing either one of those options. October 6th at 6:30, we have another town hall meeting, or pardon me, candidates meeting at the Douro Arena. I'd encourage you to attend that and meet us in person, be able to ask those questions you want to ask. I really believe this election is about balanced growth, collaboration with other townships, and listening to our residents. We take those three priorities and move them forward, and we'll be a success. I look forward to being your new deputy mayor, and I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks, everyone. I've got a few things I'm going to say at the end. I probably should have said this closer to the beginning, but even though we've got everybody here all talking to each other, they aren't all running against each other in this election. And so I'm just going to run through. So Heather Watson and Jim Coyle are both running for mayor. Harold Nelson and Mark Trudeau are running for deputy mayor. Mary Howren, Mark Porter, and Ray Johnson are running for Douro ward. Adam Vervoort, Sheila Landsman are running for Dummer ward. And Tom Watt was acclaimed as the councillor at large. And I highly encourage people to go to Douro-Dummer.ca. All their contact information is there. Please put your questions to them or find other events that are coming up between now and the election. This itself will be streamed. We aren't just live. It's going to be on YouTube, Facebook, on our website. So pkchamber.ca. You'll be able to see the rebroadcast of this. We've got links for the other 7 upcoming township debates, which I'm sure everybody is going to watch every minute of all of it. And if you're not available at those times, again, all of those will be rebroadcast. And then we also have our partnership with Your TV, so you can catch it on cable television. And really thank everyone. Next up at 7:30, everyone who wants to join us is Ashford Norwood. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great night.
Thanks. Good night, everyone, and good luck.
Thank you, Joel.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody take care.
Everyone. Thank you.
Good night.